Hello everybody, welcome to another guide video. Today I wanted to talk about PvZ, Voidway into Oracle with a fast third base, which is a very safe build. You will be not losing to any Zerg all-ins. It's something that I want to teach you how to survive, what to scout for, and how to exactly prepare yourself for the game. This build has a couple of advantages and disadvantages. From the advantages, I would say it has an early third base, which means that it's a higher economy game from the Protoss player. It's safe from early all-ins, as I said, which means that you will be able to survive any kind of early attacks from the Zerg. It gives you a lot of map control. You will be able to deny creep. You'll be able to see the map without losing any units for free. For the disadvantages though, I think it has like little harassment potential, meaning that in the early game you are starting with a Voidway, you are starting with an Oracle, and one Oracle can only do so much. If the Zerg is reacting quickly, it will be very hard to find any kind of damage, but it's okay, we will have a higher economy, right? It does have little droning control, which means that with the little harassment you will not be able to stop the Zerg from droning up. If they are not going to be for early attacks, they will not be making units that are unnecessary. You might fall behind economically because it's hard to do anything about it. You only have an Oracle and a Voidway in the early game, and you can only do so much even with the adept harassment. And also this build is a little bit predictable. The Zerg can scout what they want in the early game because you are going for a third base so quickly. The Zerg will be able to notify himself that it's going to be safe for the time being. They could be trying to all-in you, they could be trying to attack you and deny your third base, but this build is not so bad. Let's jump into the game. So, I have two replays prepared for you. One is from a ladder game and one is from a tournament. It's both equal amount of MMR that these guys are going to have. It's around 6k MMR opponents. Slightly lower than me, because I think if I would be playing against guys like 6.7, 6.8, you would not be encountering this in your endeavors on the ladder. So I wanted to choose some of the guys that are doing things that are not the most optimal, so you could be doing, like seeing in those replays something that you could see in your own games. The very first thing that I would be recommending you to do immediately in all of your games is to scout with the very first probe that you are going to be sending across the map to block the natural of the Zerg opponent. This was the very first probe, and the probe should be arriving before 0:45, before the Zerg can take a hatchery. The reason being is because it will throw the Zerg off of his game, especially at your level, somewhere in the lower leagues, somewhere in the higher leagues, doesn't matter. Zerg really like taking their natural at the time. It does cost you some minerals, of course, but if the Zerg is forced to take a third base here or third base here on any map, a third base location will be further away from this. It will either incentivize the Zerg to go for an early game aggression, which this build is very good at, or they will be slightly economically disadvantaged. So I would definitely recommend sending this probe across the map. We are going for the standard gateway timing. As soon as possible as the pylon finishes, we're going for the chrono boost, we go on the gas, and we're going to be going for the natural immediately. We keep trying to deny the base. I saw the drone not having a hatchery here, not having a hatchery here. That means the base is here. In case of a 12 pull, the defense will be different, the scouting would be different, so I'll not be talking about defending 12 pull because it's something different. But with this build, with this early scout, you'll be able to defend that no problem. So denying the third base, the natural to make the Zerg the third base is the basic thing. In the meantime, we're going for the standard cybernetics core timing at 20. We're going for the gases, we're going for the 22 pylon, and immediately as soon as the cyber core finishes, you are going to be creating an adept, and you are going to be creating a Stargate as soon as you have money for this. You can go for a warp gate immediately, or you want to skip it for a faster Stargate. I would recommend going for skipping the warp gate and going for a faster Stargate, simply because for any kind of early all-ins, if you mess up a timing or you just fail to read the game, you will have a faster Stargate, and these couple of seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, can save you from dying. And the warp gate is not the essential part of this game. Even if the Zerg will be aware that this is a Stargate opening, no big deal. We are going to be revealing the Stargate anyway. It's no big deal. So we're going at the Stargate at around 220. I'm skipping the warp gate. I'm chrono boosting out the adept, and I consistently scout around with my probe. Now I send the adept across the map immediately. What you can encounter is having a couple of links run by once your adept is out on the map. You don't necessarily want to give him this information, but yeah, the second adept is going to be clearing this up, or your Stargate will be having a Voidway immediately popping up. So you go with the adept, you scout around. What do you see? It's a couple of links. You see the third base. It's going to be a rather standard opening from the Zerg. Immediately, as soon as the Stargate finishes at around 3rd minute mark, you want to start the Voidway and chrono boost it out as soon as you can. I'm delaying kind of the chrono boost in here, but it's really not a big deal. You want to clear this Overlord as soon as possible. I specifically chose this replay because I'm not doing this build absolutely perfectly, and I think this is going to be something that you will be doing as well. Even if you try to copy the build 1-to-1, of course it's not going to be the same as a pro player. Important part of this build is you want to go for 2 gateway units. It's going to be 2 adepts. You don't want a 3rd gateway unit. It simply gives you a faster 3rd base. The Voidway that is going to be going out of the Stargate immediately hunts down the Overlord. If I wouldn't see this Overlord over here, I would be going somewhere around here where there's a typical place for the Overlords to hide. So you want to clear the Voidway. It doesn't matter if your opponent sees the Stargate. And you're going immediately for the Oracle after that. Now, why are you going for the Oracle? And why are you going for the Voidway? Voidway gives you safety against all the early aggression. I will keep on saying about this build that it's safe because it is. If the Zerg would be baneling busting you, if the Zerg would be roach, ling, queen all-inning you in the early game, they will only have so much that the Voidway will be able to repel it. With the early game adepts that you're going to be going across the map, you need to be aware what the Zerg is doing. Since I saw 3 bases from my opponent and I knew how to deal with the early game aggression, I decided to, it's safe time to take a 3rd base. The Voidway gives you all the safety. There's nothing that can shoot up so early into the game. And if you see some kind of aggression from the Zerg, if you don't see a hatchery, if you see, I don't know, a roach run or banelingness or anything, you can always re-wall in here and go for a battery in the natural to be completely safe. But I will be showing that in the next game. This is a more standard approach for the build. And in the next game, I'll show you what to do against an all-in. So after the Voidway, you go for the Oracle immediately. Oh, yeah, what the Oracle is for. Well, Oracle is the harassment tool, right? You want to at least see what your opponent is going to be doing. You want to see if they're going to be all-inning you, or maybe try to cut some drones. It's just basically a harassment tool that is going to be helping you put some pressure on your opponent. The Voidway keeps you safe. The Oracle gives you the map control and so on. You can take a 3rd base at around the 4th minute mark. You want to have 1 adept in here, 1 adept in the wall. The Voidway will be patrolling around here to prevent the Zerg from cancelling your 3rd base. I decided to walk out with the adepts because I killed a lot of the lings and I felt it's a good time for the harassment. Now, what you want to do after the 3rd base and after the Oracle is finished, you want to continue the Stargate production. You want to go for the Voidway. You want to go for the 2nd Stargate and additional gases after your 3rd base has been set. The double Stargate goes into the double Voidways, and the Voidways will keep you safe for the later part of the game. You want to be adding a shield batteries if you feel any kind of danger coming your way. I go to harass with my adepts, I deal some damage, and in the meantime I'm safe. In here there's nothing that the Zerg can do because the Voidway is patrolling around. I have an Oracle on the path, and I can see queens and just drones going out of my opponent. I see a roach warren immediately, and if you see a roach warren and a lot of queens, you should probably go into a robotics facility or Twilight Council and Forge. I prefer robotics facility transitioning into the disruptor because roach ravager all-ins or roach ravager queen marches are going to be very difficult to deal with if you do not have that firepower of a disruptor. In the meantime, you are going for the +1 and continuous Voidway production. You can obviously go around with the Voidways, try to deny the creep, but don't leave your 3rd base completely open. I have a shield battery in here and a couple of zealots. I'll follow my camera in here, even though it's going to be quite speedy, but I will show you how much you can do in little time. Oracle from one side, Voidways from the other side, cancelling the 4th, just applying as much pressure as I can for the Zerg. Even if the Zerg can repel you with a couple of queens, it just requires some action, right? The Oracle keeps on scouting for the 4th base, and in the meantime I have teched up for the disruptors. Now, this build doesn't necessarily have an end game situation where you are going to be finishing the Zerg off. It's not going to be able to kill the Zerg immediately. If your Oracle finds a damage of like 10 drones, or if your Voidway kills a couple of Overlords, or if you deny a fourth, that's all good, but there's no actual kill potential here. It all goes later and later and later into the game. If you go transition into a fourth in Twilight Council and you add additional gateways and stop the Void production, you can put aggression on the Zerg and try to kill him that way, but it's a little bit more dangerous. I prefer it this way. I keep the Voidways active as well as I take my fourth base and secure myself with a wall of soon-to-be cannons and batteries in case of an attack from the base. I keep on scouting with the Oracle and I keep targeting the fourth base. I see a lot of units from my Zerg opponent. He has like roaches, ravagers and so on, and I feel completely safe. The pro production is almost constant with this build, and if you look at the income, we are almost equal throughout the entire game, and if you're equal as a protest to the Zerg, that is great. We are on 3 bases, both of us. I even denied the 4th base, so even my 4th base is slightly faster. It all comes down to the Voidway control. You can be safe without exposing your units as much with this build, because the Voidways are not easily killable units from the Zerg side. There's not much anti-air. The way that you can finish the game off is either by attacking with like carriers and so on. You're kind of aiming for the late game. I'm going to be moving out with the Voidways and I'll kind of force the move on my opponent. I see the army movement from his side and the Voidways are going into the main unscouted. I will kill the lair. So with this kind of move you can easily deny the Zerg from further attack. The Zergs need to be aware that this kind of move can happen. I go to the 4th base and the Zerg GG's. So, without any major fight in here, all because of the harassment, all of the build orders and so on. If you look at the income, 82 probes to 85 drones. I didn't harass too much. I lost only 3 units, he lost 47. All because of the harassment with the Oracle and the Voidway. So this is the standard build for the game. The Voidway, Oracle, 3rd base, 2nd Stargate, gas on 2 units, adept. I hope it was helpful, that you could understand it. But let's say the more practical way. Let's try to give you guys a game where I'm being all in. Why this build is safe. So this is another replay I wanted to show you. It's from a tournament, ESL Open European Edition. And I want to follow closely the build order that we are going to be doing in here. I'll disable the sound so it doesn't bother us too much. Immediately I scouted with the first probe, as you could see. And the pylon goes at the 14 at around 18 seconds in the natural. You go across the map with the probe to block the natural from the Zerg opponent. We're following the camera on 2x speed. I know it might be a little bit confusing, but hope you guys can manage it, the early game. 0.45, there's no natural in here from the Zerg. There can be a drone in here, there could be a drone in here. But because this probe didn't see a drone moving out, I am a bit skeptical about this. So we are going to be going into the main. And what do I see now? Is an earlier pull and a gas immediately, meaning aggression could be happening. This build, perfect versus aggression. So I'm quite happy with what I'm seeing. I go for the gateway, gas, constant probe production, 1 chrono boost on the Nexus. Then we go on the Nexus at 20 or 21, whatever you prefer. It's no big difference. And then as soon as you have money, at 130, 135, you should be able to afford cybernetics core. And I keep scouting with the probe around. And I see something fishy is going on, right? It's not a good economical build. The Zerg keeps kind of mining gas. So I'm definitely going for this safe build, the Voidway first. The lings show me that he wants to, shoo me away. Like, go away, don't scout anymore. So I'm being a little bit curious what the plan is for the Zerg. I chrono boost out immediately the Adept. And I go for the Stargate immediately at 220 yet again. Now this is very important to start the Stargate immediately, especially if the Zerg is going for the early pull, early gas before the hatchery, simply because you want that Voidway as soon as possible. So now the thought process, what you need to scout for and what to do in the certain situations. I immediately go across the map with the Adept. I shoo away the Zerglings and I'm trying to figure out what is going on across the map. I am going confidently across the map with the Adept. I am not expecting more lings to be showing up, simply because the hatchery and the natural has been late, right? There cannot be enough larvae to produce a lot of lings, and they can be on this map without him falling behind economically. So I'm safely going across the map with the first Adept immediately, because I want to figure out what is he doing. I go for the Chrono Boost on the second Adept, simply because he could be running with additional links, and that's what happens. Not enough links to be, you know, a deadly number, but enough to, you know, pull my probes away. And this is, I think, a good example of showing the game where it doesn't go perfectly, but I do lose some probes in the natural, but the Adept shows me everything, right? I go into the natural, I immediately see roaches popping up. This is alarm bells. At 310 roaches means it's attack, it's all in. So we need to be preparing for all kinds of defense. The target is already done. So we are starting the Voidway, and we are chrono boosting the Voidway immediately. Try to repel the lings if they are running in. The two lings are causing a lot of chaos, but it's alright. Immediately after scouting the roaches, I go for the Voidway, I go for the shield battery. Go for a full wall off if you are able to. That will buy you enough time. I go for the cybernetics core. It has more HP, it builds slightly faster than a gateway, meaning that the wall off will be stronger before the Zerg comes in. He tries to buy as much time as possible with this link. This was actually a cute play, going around my base to, you know, occupy the Voidway. And now, instead of an Oracle, you're going for the second Voidway. Well, Oracle would run out of energy, and if the opponent is attacking, well, you need as much firepower as possible. So you are going to be needing the firepower from the second Voidway. The shield battery finishes. I know there's not going to be any kind of aggression that will be breaking this wall anytime soon, so I send the Adepts across the main base to clear up the annoying ling, and now the Voidway takes care of the frontal attack. That's a lot of firepower, alright? This is very dangerous, but take a look at this. You have battery and you have energy for Chrono Boost and for the battery overcharge, the super battery or whatever you want to call it. Focus the roaches with the Voidway, activate the prismatic alignment to clear it up faster. If one of your walling building is in danger, heal it with the shield battery. He could be kind of going maybe for this building, maybe it will be slightly out of range, but it doesn't matter. He has nothing to deal with the Voidway. There's a single Ravager, there's no queen walking by, and as you can see, with this kind of build, we are easily repelling the attack from our opponent without having any kind of problems. If we look at the vision and the income, it's 31 probes to 19. The Zerg is completely all in, no third base, and he cannot even break a wall off. So it's very important to scout with the first Adept if there's something fishy going on. If they're going for the standard hatchery and then, you know, gas pull later on, you can be a little bit safer with your Adept movement, meaning that the aggression will be coming out later. But if they're going for an early pull, early gas, you need to be scouting with the Adept, even if you have to sacrifice the Adept to go across the map, you know, shade in here, finish the shade, and then you'll be able to see a building, a roach warren, baneling nest, or whatever. This Voidway will keep you safe. Against banelings, maybe I would be recommending a second unit on Oracle, because the Oracle cleans up the links in baneling slightly faster, but if you're going to be going double Voidway, it still doesn't matter. Now the Zerg GG'd, but if he wouldn't GG, I would kill this building, go for the third base, and continue Voidway production. So overall, this build, hope you guys understood how to do it. It's very easy to do. The very first 4 minutes, I think it's pretty easy to follow. Of course, the later the game goes, the more things are going to be happening from your opponent. Try not to get your third base cancelled. Keep your Voidways around the third base, the Oracle to harass and scout for the Zerg army movement. So yeah, that's it for the build order. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to post it in the comments. If I haven't made anything clear, I'll try to explain it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Good luck on the ladder.